Imagine walking into a story where a simple act of kindness explodes into something no one ever expected. Imagine paying for someone's gas, not knowing who they were, not knowing what world they belonged to, only to wake up the next day to the sound of roaring engines outside your door. Would you be scared? Would you regret it? Or would you realize, in that moment, that kindness has a way of circling back 1,000 times stronger? Stick with me until the end, because this story will shock you, move you, and remind you why the smallest choices we make can change lives forever. And before we dive in, hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss powerful stories just like this one. It all started on a chilly evening at a rundown gas station off a lonely highway. Lisa, a hardworking single mother of two, was rushing home after her late shift at the diner. She barely had enough money in her wallet to cover her own gas, but as she pulled up, she noticed a man standing awkwardly beside his motorcycle, patting down his leather vest, clearly realizing he didn't have the cash or card he needed. His bike was enormous, black and chrome, with the unmistakable insignia of the Hells Angels patched across his back. Lisa felt her stomach knot. Everyone in town whispered about the Hells Angels. Some called them dangerous, others said they were untouchable. She almost looked away, almost convinced herself it wasn't her problem. But then she saw the look on his face. Beneath the tough exterior, tattoos and leather, he just looked human. Tired, frustrated, maybe even embarrassed. Lisa's own car had broken down countless times, and she remembered all too well how humiliating it was to stand stranded helpless. Without really thinking it through, she walked over, slid her card into the pump, and said, "Fill it up. Don't worry about it." The biker froze. For a moment, it seemed like he didn't know how to react. Then he slowly nodded, his voice gravelly. "You sure about that?" Lisa just smiled. "Yeah, just pay it forward someday." He studied her for a long time, almost like he was trying to figure out what kind of person she was. Then, quietly, he said, "Name's Bear. Thank you." Lisa shrugged it off, got back in her car, and drove away, not giving it much thought. To her, it was just $20, and a good deed she hoped might make someone's night a little easier. But for Bear, that moment burned into him, because in his world, one built on loyalty, reputation, and toughness, people didn't just offer help with no strings attached. The next morning, Lisa woke to the rumble of engines. At first she thought it was thunder, but then it grew louder. Her curtains shook. Her heart raced as she peeked outside. Lined up in front of her small house were at least 30 motorcycles, shining in the morning light, with leather-clad riders sitting tall, their vests covered in patches. The Hells Angels, dozens of them. Fear shot through her chest. She rushed to lock the door, her kids stirring awake in their rooms. "Mom, what's happening?" her daughter whispered, peeking from the hallway. Lisa pressed a finger to her lips, trying to steady her breathing. Then came the knock. Slow, heavy. Lisa almost didn't answer, but something inside her told her to be brave. She opened the door just enough to see Bear standing there, his eyes calm, his beard catching the sunlight. He held out a folded envelope. "This is for you," he said. Lisa hesitated, staring at the sea of bikers behind him, their faces unreadable. Her hand shook as she took the envelope and opened it. Inside was a stack of cash, more money than she'd seen in months. She shook her head, trying to give it back. "No, I can't take this. It was just gas, it was nothing." Bear's voice cut through firmly but softly. "It wasn't nothing. You saw me. Not the patches, not the rumors, me. And nobody does that for us. You told me to pay it forward. This is us doing that." Lisa's eyes stung with tears. She thought of her overdue bills, the nights she had to choose between groceries and gas, the birthday she couldn't afford to celebrate for her son last month. But beyond the money, what struck her was the respect in their eyes. These men, feared by so many, had shown up not to intimidate, but to honor her kindness. Over the next few weeks, Lisa's life began to shift. The bikers didn't just disappear. They checked in on her, made sure her car was running, even stood guard one night when her neighborhood had a string of break-ins. At first, the neighbors whispered, scared of the gang of leather jackets lingering around Lisa's driveway. But slowly, whispers turned into awe. People realized these men weren't here to cause trouble. They were here because one woman chose kindness without judgment. Of course, it wasn't all easy. Some parents at Lisa's kids' school started avoiding her. One even confronted her, saying, "Do you know who you're letting into your life? They're dangerous." Lisa's voice didn't waver when she replied, "Dangerous people don't show up at your house to protect your children. Cruel people don't repay kindness with loyalty. Maybe you should look past the patches too." Her words cut deep, and over time, even the skeptics began to see what she saw. One night, months later, Bear stopped by while her kids played in the yard. He leaned on his bike and said, "Lisa, you taught us something. We ride through towns all the time. People see us as monsters. You didn't. You reminded me that even men like us can still be seen as human." Lisa smiled, her heart full. "And you reminded me that kindness doesn't come back empty. Sometimes it comes back on 30 motorcycles." By the end of the story, Lisa wasn't just the woman who helped a biker at a gas station. She became a symbol in her town that kindness is power, that no act is too small, and that the walls we build around each other can crumble with a single gesture of compassion. So, remember this: one act of kindness can ripple out farther than you'll ever know. It can come back in ways that shake the ground beneath your feet. Literally. And if this story moved you, if it made you believe even for a second that the world can change one choice at a time, then don't leave without hitting that like button, and subscribe to join us for more stories that remind us of the power we all hold. Because you never know, your $20 kindness today could bring 100 riders to your door tomorrow.